Kidding? Just one shot?
They're not all zombies, Doug. How do you fight this thing?
Maybe we could drown it in A1 sauce.
Well, sometimes that is better. The person you put up there ain't the person that comes back.
It's a dance song to get down with. About 6 feet under. Get there.
Ooh, I love this song. I'm hung up in a grave situation.
And now we come to the thrilling final episode of our radio drama.
Hello and welcome to episode 202 of the Rotten Views podcast. Thank you everyone for showing up for another new episode. I appreciate it so much. We had a few technical difficulties with the power going out tonight. It went out just quick, came back on, but luckily I wasn't in the midst of recording at that point in time because that would have sucked a little bit. So, most of my movies I watch online on the internet. So who needs, typical actual media in your home like DVDs and Blu-rays? That's not a thing anymore, right? But I think we're good to go now. I don't think there should be any more hiccups. But before we do get into the movie at hand today, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping.
Housekeeping?
Don't think you're sleeping.
Housekeeping?
Could you come back in an hour?
Housekeeping, you want towel?
More towels. Need sleepy.
Housekeeping, you want mint for pillow?
Please go away. Let me sleep for the love of God.
As always, if you guys can, go give the podcast a review or a star rating if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or CastBox or YouTube Podcast, whatever it might be, just leave it a little review. Also, follow me on all social medias. The links will be down below, but it's at Typhonstein. You can find me on X, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook. But that main thing that we have that we are putting so much content and effort into is the YouTube channel at Typhonstein. Go check it out. We have the weekly gaming video that drops every single Wednesday. We have very short videos that go out as well. I have you do live streams over there as well. I do some art live streams. I do some video game live streams. We have old episodes of the podcast going up as well. We have community posts. So yeah, there's just a bunch of content that you can see over on the YouTube channel. And just so you guys are aware, once we do hit that 1,000 mark, the 1,000 sub mark on YouTube, I'm going to be giving away some free artwork. So you could be a lucky winner and win some free artwork. I think it's worth it. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications if you want to be notified every time I post a new video or when I go live for a live stream. As well, I don't know where you guys are listening, but I don't know if the heat's getting to you like it's getting to me lately. And if you're a little bit thirsty and you want to build up those electrolytes and feel refreshed, make sure to check out w.gg and use the promo code RottenViews to save yourself 10% at checkout. They got shaker cups, they got merchandise in general. They have different flavors of different powders for your energy drinks and whatnot. So definitely go check that out. Like I said, w.gg and use the promo code RottenViews at checkout. Save yourself 10%. Saves me a little bit, saves you a little bit. Works hand in hand together. So let's, save each other a little bit. Right? A week ahead of the time, though, of course, because as you know, if you're listening to this, new episodes of the podcast drop every single Saturday. So we're not doing this just like 24 hours before the episode actually needs to air. So we're actually, we're ahead of the game a little bit. So I'm pretty proud about that. We're going to keep ahead of the game. Hopefully get some new content coming out, extra content and whatnot. So definitely, keep an eye out for new stuff coming out soon. And I'm getting ready for that big push. I know we still have a little bit of time before October, but when October comes around, I'm going to be doing my daily drawings for my kid. I'm going to be trying to post as much artwork in general, but we're also going to be doing the 31 days of, art prompts. I think it might be Simpson themed, might be cartoon themed, I might be sticky note themed again. I'm not really too sure yet, but we're going to get it planned ahead of time, so everything's already planned out and ready to go. Maybe do some drawings ahead of time as well. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some on the live streams. Who knows? I'm not really too sure yet. It's just an idea that's up there in the air, and we're hopefully going to get everything planned out ahead of time. I think I touched base on everything I want to talk about at that point in time. So let's get into today's movie at hand. This is a first time watch for me. I've heard of the movie, but I've never actually sat down to watch it. It's from 1995. It's a horror comedy for an hour hour and 36 minutes, we're going to sit down and watch Evil Ed for the very first time. I will give you a warning ahead of time. You can watch this movie on YouTube. There is a good copy on YouTube. I'm going to be talking about this movie from start to finish and hit all the points in between that catch my interest. So if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1995, I think I said it did, make sure to pause the episode now if you need to and go watch it and then come back and listen to me talk about the thing you just watched, or just sit back, relax, and listen to me talk about the movie. And maybe I'll even make you really want to watch the movie afterwards, or you'll just know that you've had enough and you don't need to watch it. But yeah, this movie has a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 49% on Rotten Tomatoes. Apparently 83% of Google users enjoyed this movie. The initial release date for this movie was May 2nd, 1997, actually in Sweden. I'm not sure why it's got the Swedish release date, not the actual other release date. But whatever, it is what it is, okay? We'll just go with it. The description as read on IMDb: a mild-mannered film editor is assigned to cut a series of infamous slasher films and is driven murderously insane by the miles of extremely violent footage he edits. The director for this movie is Anders Jacobson. Of course, best known for doing Evil Dead from 1995. But he's done a lot of cinematographer work, where he's also been credited for Evil Dead for that as well. He also did the same in 2000 for Det Okanda, as well as 2010 for a movie called Insane. He's also apparently in 20 episodes of Argentina doing cinematographer work as well. He's also got credits for being one of the writers for Evil Ed as well. Another writer for the movie is Goran Ludstrom. I probably butchered the first part of the name, but that's fine. He was also apparently part of the makeup department for 2018's Border. I mean, he's done actually something I can say that he's worked on. Apparently he worked on the 2022 version of the Batman, where he was part of the makeup department. I mean, people at least know the Batman movie, so that's something, right? Other than that, looking at the other products he's worked on, actually he was in True Detective for 8 episodes, and he was in a TV show called Genius for 20 episodes, where he did the prosthetics supervisor for that. I didn't even know that was an actual job title, but that sounds like fun. And the last writer credit for Evil Ed is Christer Olesen. I am not sure how to pronounce his name, but he's only got one other credit, and apparently he was in 2017 playing himself in Lost in Brainland, whatever the hell that might be. I have no goddamn idea. I mean, there's a cast for this movie. I don't think we're going to know any of the movies that these people are featured in at all, because we have one of the leads is Michael Calavera playing Tom McClane. We have Olaf Roden playing Sam Campbell. We have Hans Williamson playing Weld, Anders X playing a janitor, and that's like the top 4 cast members for this movie apparently. And only 2 of those people even have an image on IMDb, so we're just going to skip that. I know that's probably a bad thing. I'm sorry, please don't hate me if you're an overseas listener and I didn't give those actors enough credit. I'm sure they're doing great things. Being honest with you, I clicked on Michael's name and he's literally got like 6 other acting roles, and that's it. So I don't think there's really anything to it. Sometimes on certain features of the podcast, you just gotta bite the bullet, because it's gonna pad out the episode a little bit more, but that's fine. We don't need any extra padding. We got enough padding on us as it is. I ain't gonna lie, the tagline for the movie is kind of fun. It is, when his mind blows, anything goes. And apparently a fun little piece of trivia, according to IMDb, it took 5 years to make this movie from start to finish. It started as a short film project. All the trailers and films in the film scenes was the first sequence to be filmed. So they made pretty much this movie based around the trailers and then kind of stitched it all together by the sounds of it. I mean, whatever works. 5 years though. Damn, that seems like a really long ass time. But hey, I know nothing about making a movie, so I can't judge it all. So maybe 5 years isn't horrible. I know it's pretty bad though. Anyways, enough about all that. I think we touched on all the things that we need to mention about in this movie. So we're going to get started on the movie right at hand. So like I said a few minutes earlier, if you don't want to be spoiled on a movie that came out in 1995, or apparently 1997 if you're in Sweden, feel free to pause the episode now. Go watch it on YouTube, or apparently it's also streaming on Tubi as well, or you can rent it on Amazon. I'm not sure why you're going to rent it on Amazon if it's free elsewhere, but that's besides the point. We love Tubi over here, so if you want to be a sponsor Tubi, hit me up. I would totally totally be up for that. But that's besides the point. We're going to get started on the movie at hand, so I just don't want to hear any, complaining if there's spoilers, because there's going to be spoilers, because I talk about the whole goddamn movie pretty much. So yeah, just sit back, get comfy, get some snacks, get some Starburst or some Skittles or some Mike and Ike's, whatever it might be. If you're working, just keep on working. Hopefully this will help you get through your day. And if you're driving, eyes on the road, okay, dipshit? Don't cause any accidents, all right?
Presents Saturday Night at the Movies, the television series which each week brings you the finest in recent motion pictures. Tonight,
this is Edward. He's a nice guy.
I love you too.
I'm Sam Campbell. Welcome to the team. Have a seat.
So, this is the splatter and gore department.
Now he's to cut down on the violence in splatter movies.
I'm doing it for a good cause.
The violence gets to him. He starts to hallucinate. He gets touchy.
Get the hell out of here!
And he gets paranoid.
Come on! Race me to hell!
And the good guy turns evil.
This is dying time.
When his mind blows, anything goes.
Yeah!
They lock him up.
He's psychotic. Give him 10 cc.
But the loony gets loose. Now he's bound for termination.
Where's the problem?
Rest in pieces, motherfucker.
The intro credits is totally just starting, just a solid black screen, some blue and white writing on it, nothing too fancy. And then we cut to seeing this guy screaming as he's got no pants on and he looks like a doctor oh no, he's a film editor, of course. I'm not sure why I said doctor, but anyways, he's editing some film without his pants on for some reason. I have no idea why. And he's screaming as he's looking at this film reel, and then he's stabbing the film reel with a knife for some reason, and we hear a bunch of screeching, and then actually, it's a pair of scissors, my bad. And then he starts cutting the film reel all up and just starts screaming all over the place as a guy's banging on the door being like, McClane, open up, come on, open up. You're being silly in there, McClane. McClane's going completely crazy in this room. And then the guy trying to break down the door might be the director, producer, I'm not too sure. He's like, you little mega piece of shit, you're gonna regret this. And out of nowhere, he gets a blowtorch welder and starts cutting the door down to get inside. You can hear the film reel playing in the projector. We just hear some girls screaming and whatnot, and then we see a close-up of McClane's face, and he's got sweat pouring down. He's got blisters all over his face, and then the door breaks down, and he throws one of the film reels at the guy. It looks like it almost sacks him, but he gets him in the guy. He's like, "What are you doing, McClane?" And then McClane's like, "I'm just in the chunk of meat lost in Brainland." As he's holding a grenade and pulls the pin out of it, and then the guy that got hit with the film reel, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm getting out of here." And the director guy's like, "You put that down now. You put that grenade down now." And then McClane puts the grenade in his mouth, and then his head blows off, and the whole room fills with blood. And the director guy wipes the blood off his face like, "You're fired." Well, he's got no goddamn head. Of course he's fired. And then we see Evil Ed, Special Ed Edition, pop up on the screen. Clever. And then it turned into a black and white film where this guy's looking out this window with his jacket undone. He's got no shirt on. He looks like an alcoholic while this girl with short hair sits on the couch. And she's like, "Are you listening to me? I'm leaving you. Are you listening? Because you're an alcoholic." And as the guy's just staring out the window, he's like, "Who in society can you really fucking trust? Huh? Who can you really fucking trust? Look at this fair weather outside. Kiss my ass for this fair weather all long day." It's like, what's your issue with the weather, dude? Fair weather isn't that that good weather? Like, or is that just gloomy weather? I'm not too sure. And we cut to this like other editing room, and it's now a colored movie yet again. And we see this guy writing on a film reel, and then we see in the background this older lady. And for what reason, while they're working on film reels, they wear medical equipment, like got like the medical jacket on and gloves. And this old lady's like carrying like 5 film reels, and it's taking her 5 minutes to shuffle like 2 feet. And then Edward, the guy who was writing on film reels, gets called into the office, and apparently he's getting changed to a different department. And his boss is like, I don't remember who's gonna be giving you orders now. It's somewhere in this paperwork. I think it's Sam Campbell. You can go work with him now. And then some rave music kind of like turns on as Edward is coming out of the elevator. And it looks like he's going to work in like a porn industry now, because there's a totally different atmosphere. There's girls in short dresses. There's like a wraparound circle couch. And we see the dickhead producer guy who told the other guy, Tom, that he was fired because his head blew off. And then we find out that director guy is Sam Campbell. He's like, hey, I'm Sam Campbell. Welcome to the company. Welcome to take a seat. And we hear a guy in the background being like, it's molesting time now. I was like, what? And then we hear someone screaming in the background the whole time. But it sounds like him screaming. I will say, Sam and Edward are talking. On the right side of Sam's desk, he actually has a giant Evil Dead 2 poster framed up. So I thought that was a nice touch. I liked the little touch there. And then we hear Chop Top Mosley, of all people, talking in the background. And I'm assuming it's a scene from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Because he's like, oh, you're bleeding real badly. Want me to chop the other one off too? The background noise happening in this office is more distracting and more interesting than the actual actors talking, even though it's just Everett listening to Sam. And I think Sam's talking about something about, you gotta start cutting out the gore and stuff because, the producer companies are getting on our ass or something along those lines. Like I said, the background noise was louder than the actual actors talking and more interesting. But yeah, then we see Everett sitting down at his computer and he's editing some film reel, and it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 playing on his TV as he's doing the editing. So I'm not sure how they got the rights to that or how this works at all. And then the phone rings and he's like, European distributors, how can I help you, Barbara? And it's fun because, Barbara's probably a play on the Night of the Living Dead movie because Barbara's the one, that survives. Anyways, Barbara wants to know a little bit more about Ed's job and what he's working on. He doesn't really want to tell her, but he tells her anyways because now he's like, all right, Barbara, you want to know a little bit about what I'm working on? So in this scene, a girl gets raped by a beaver and then her head gets blown up by a bazooka. Is the bazooka used by the beaver though? I'm not really too sure. I don't want to find out. But I know Zombeavers is an actual indie horror movie, but we're probably never going to talk about that movie. We come to find out Barbara is his girlfriend and she's like, this is disgusting. Why are you telling me this stuff? And he's like, you just asked to find out about it. You just asked me what I was working on. I told you what I was working on. Out of nowhere, we see this random limousine in a parking garage, and it stops and lets this girl out in a short dress, and this creep in a trench coat is like, come on, hon, show me what you got. What's going on now? And then out of nowhere, she just drops her jacket, and she's just in underwear, and she's like, you like what you see? He's like, oh, well, yeah. And for some reason, she leaves her sunglasses on, though. And then she's like, you like what you see? And he's like, well, yeah, I do. She's like, well, you can have all of it. He's like, nah, I'll just sell for an arm. And then he pulls out a knife, pins her up against the wall, and starts cutting off her forearm. And there's blood going all over the place. And then he starts headbutting the cut on their arm for whatever reason. And then the next thing you know, we see a still shot of him screaming, covered in blood with the knife in his hand. And we cut back to our buddy Edward editing the film. And then we see Edward's, edited scene where it cuts back to her undressing. And then it just cuts to the killer just covered in blood screaming, and Edward's like, yeah, I did a good job on that one. And then we cut to a random movie theater where this gruesome movie is playing, and there's just 2 guys watching the movie, and then one of the workers comes over and is like, so what are you guys watching? Apparently the title of this movie they're watching is Loose Limbs 5, because this is a film, by what I can guess, it's a movie about a doctor that goes and cuts off limbs, because all we can hear in the goddamn background is someone screaming as they get chopped up into pieces by the sounds of it. And then Sam comes into the room, turns on the light, he's like, hey Nick, you guys gotta be working with the new editor, because you're gonna be, bringing the films when he needs new films to edit, okay? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, Mr. Campbell, yeah, okay. And we see, some various montage of Edward editing various film reels. We see, heads with blood coming out of them. This lady with a weird snake-looking tongue, and their head getting blown off on a wall, and him writing down paperwork. And he's on like day number 30 now of just the straight editing slasher films and everything. We just noticed in the background. Everett gets up and goes to his fridge as he's editing another Texas Chainsaw movie with Bill Moseley in it. Chop Top, someone being like, "Where's my chainsaw?" Anyways, besides the point, he has a Garfield stuffy on his fridge, which is awesome. And then for some reason, the camera starts to zoom in on the Garfield stuffy for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyways, then he's starting to cut up some bread, almost in the dark at this point in time. And then he looks down because he hears a noise. And then next thing you know, the bread turns into a limb. He's like, "Oh God!" And then he looks back down. And he's like, "Oh no, that's just bread. It's fine." Then he sits down at his kitchen table trying to calm down, and his fridge starts to open up a bit. He peeks back at it, and then we just cut to Sam talking to the girl that he was flirting with in the movie theater section. And then Sam's like, "Why is this film sitting on my desk? You're supposed to move these films for me, you piece of shit." And then we see Everett showing up to work, and he's getting ready to go to see Sam in his office. And then we see another Evil Dead 2 poster, because now this time the poster's on the front door for some reason. And then he's like, "Hey Eddie, come on in. What's going on? What's the problem?" He's like, I don't feel so good. I think something's happening to me from editing all these movies. That's when Edward's like, "You know what? These films are giving me the creeps. I can't handle the violence and stuff. And I want my old job back, to be honest with you, because I don't want to work on these kind of movies at all." And that's when then Sam's like, "So Edward, I'm going to let you know, I'm not your shrink or your mother. I don't need to know about your medical issues or your paranoias or your issues at all. I need you to get my work done. And if you don't get my work done for me, you're not going to have a job at all. Do you understand, Eddie? Okay, buddy? Go get my work done." And we just see Everett back at home just editing some videos. I mean, it's nighttime, and maybe if you would have edited the videos with the light on, maybe you wouldn't go so paranoid, because all you have is the screen glare in your face. Probably not really good for your eyes at all, but it's the 90s, so I don't think they really care too much. But he's editing in there. Chop Top Bill Moseley movie. And then when he gets up and turns off the machine, turns around, we have Bill Moseley, Chop Top's character, kind of zombie looking character, being like, "Don't you look at me." I didn't want to get a strike or anything for saying the F word, but yeah, he gets very vulgar about it. And then next thing we know, we see Edward just sitting down in his chair again, hyperventilating, and be like, "Okay, I'm going a little bit crazy now." Then the phone rings, and of course it's Sam on the other end. He's like, "So how you going, Eddie?" He's like, "I think I should be taken to a hospital." And he's like, "What do you mean? You feel sick? You feel ill? Are you homesick?" And then I'm like thinking, homesick? What, does he never go home ever? Like, is he that far away from his home that he can't go back to see his Barbara? He can't see his Barbara? She might be being ate by zombies at this point in time. Now it's the next morning. We see Edward in his washroom, washing up his face, wondering what's happening to him. And then he's looking out the window, and he sees an old lady come out of the next home over or compound over. I'm not sure what's going on. And then she turns into this really hot blonde and starts playing with her boobs. And the next thing, she turns back in the old lady. He's like, "Ah, damn it." And then we see Sam showing up at Edward's place. He's like, "Hi, I'm from European, here to bring you some more film reels." He's like, "So, did you bring Loose Limbs 7? And Sam's like, "Yeah, I sure did. It's a great film." He's like, "You mean 90 minutes of sex and violence? It's not that good of a movie. Give me this film and get the hell out of my property." So then we cut to this Loose Limbs 7 film where we just see the doctor. It's the same killer from before. He just stabs her in the ankle with a syringe, and she's playing for gum. She's like, "Ouch." She's like, "I don't feel a thing, doctor. It's the loose nail gone?" And then he pulls out a meat cleaver and cuts off her foot, and she's like, "Oh, my foot." Sorry, I was wrong. It was actually Loose Limbs 5, The Anatomy of Fear, and apparently it's coming to a theater soon, just so you guys are aware. It's a movie inside of a movie. It's Inception. Then we see Edward sitting at his desk playing with his pens, and then he turns off the light. And the next thing you know, we see him walking into a room that's kind of like a sane asylum looking room, minus the padded walls. But then it's just this weird ghoul looking person being like, "I'm still waiting." He's like, "Well, what do you mean waiting for what?" That's when he gives him like a Mortal Kombat speech, being like, "There's great work to be done. You need to use your talent and not waste it. There's much in the world that needs to be corrected." And then the random guy starts like feeling up Everett's face and being like, "Oh, you have such a perfect face. They must be corrected or die." And then Everett wakes up in his bed holding his blankie, scared shitless. And then we see Edward waking up again because now he's hearing sounds coming from his kitchen. He grabs a pipe of some sort and starts walking down to the kitchen where he's seeing his fridge making sounds and moving a bit. So he opens it up and then there's this weird looking green monster inside it, which looks like it might be like a Wish or Timo version of a gremlin. And I'm pretty sure it tells him to F off and closes the door in front of him. So then Edward's like, what did I just see in my fridge? So then he opens up the fridge again. And I'm pretty sure the monster tells him to go away, you Nazi, or you're going to die. I can't really understand what he's saying. And then throws a tomato at his face. So then Edward grabs a knife and he's not too happy with this little new visitor in his home. So he opens up the fridge again, doesn't look in, just starts stabbing, and then there's nothing inside there at all. It's just gone. It's just his food and whatnot. And then we just hear the little monster running through his home. He's like, god damn it, now it's somewhere loose inside my home. It's the middle of the night now, and we see, well, of course it's still middle of the night, but he's boarding up his door from the inside, of course, kind of like he's in a zombie apocalypse. And out of nowhere, Sam comes up and starts banging on the door and being like, it's Sam Campbell, let me in. It's like, it's the middle of the night. What are you doing here? So now Eddie's taking the boards off enough so that Sam can get inside. And he's like, there's some strange neighbors here. A neighbor got in the house last night, and I scared him off, though. He was a little green neighbor. It's like, oh, so now it's another day now? We've lost a whole day somehow? We see Sam and Eddie up in Eddie's like editing area, and Sam's watching one of his edits. But in the background, we also see a giant The Fly poster up on the wall. And Sam's trying to talk to Edward, but Edward's not listening at all because he's in his own little world. He's like, hey, you get that neighbor stuff out of your head. We got some business to discuss here. Listen, I'm your boss. And now we have Sam, giving shit to Eddie because Eddie cut out the scene with the beaver in it. He's like, that's not a bad scene. That's a money shot scene. You make sure that scene's back in this movie now. And then Sam looks back at Eddie and Sam's eyes are green and Eddie starts freaking out and runs away. He's in his own home. We see Eddie running down sets of stairs and keeps going, and then he's in like this dungeon area. And now Sam is like this Lucifer-looking character, almost like he's Tim Curry from Legend, but the horns are like straight in front of the head. And then we just see Edward running through this catacombs, like tunnel system that's underneath his home somehow, being chased by this demon character. This movie gets really weird because the Satan character is telling Eddie that he's going to go in hell, and in hell he's going to have to do some oral acts for the rest of his life. And then he's like, you don't tell me what to do, and he grabs the devil's head and just snaps the neck. And then next thing you know, we just see Sam getting his neck snapped, and he's in like a workshop closet somewhere because we see some tools up on the side of the walls. And Eddie starts laughing and being like, I'm just going to grab this hacksaw now and cut up some body parts. And then that kid song, the headphone connected to the neck bone, blah, blah, blah song comes on and starts playing. And then we see Eddie dragging a garbage bag to his dumpster area. And Eddie must have this like smaller garbage bag that must probably just have Sam's head in it. Because then he does like a slam dunk into his garbage can. He's like, yeah, look at me go. I'm crazy. And then when it's the middle of the night, we see Nick bringing back Sam, whatever his name. Yeah, Nick, right? Bringing back some more film reels, and he knocks on the door, nobody answers. So then the door creaks open slowly. He's like, hello? So gonna leave these film reels here. And then Eddie comes up. He's like, hi, with a big smile on his face. He's like, ooh, more films for Edward, huh? He's like, are these films fun? He's like, no, not really. He's like, well, I want films that are funny. Do you want some coffee? I'll make you some coffee as I have no lights on in my home. We see Eddie and Nick sitting down for coffee. And we just see Eddie open up his mouth and stick his tongue into the coffee cup. And he's like, it's hot. Also, thank you for Loose Limbs 7. I liked it a lot. And then Edward, takes a glass, smashes it into Nick's face, and then drops him to the ground and literally just starts punching him over and over and over and over again as this tweaky little sleepy time song plays. And he's like, 1 potato, 2 potato, good night. See Eddie up in his room, editing some film, going crazy, ripping his tie off and ripping his collar of his shirt off. But then we see Nick in the kitchen laying face down all bloody as he's slowly regaining conscience again after being punched in the face numerous times. Out of nowhere outside, this Mustang pulls up and turns off his engine headlights and slowly rocks in. And it's these two greaser guys that are getting ready to rob the place because they get a handgun and a shotgun and a crowbar. And the guy looks at the crowbar, he's like, groovy. And so you see the guys using the crowbar to get into the door. And it's like the back door of maybe Edward's house, because it's definitely not the front of the house, because this door looks nothing like the other door. And as the door gets popped open, Edward just stops his Eddie and turns around being like, "Ooh, I heard that. Wonder what's happening." And the one guy, I think his name is Zip, is walking through the home with a giant ass flashlight. Out of nowhere, Eddie pops up and he's like, "Yeah, this really pisses me off when someone breaks in my home." So then the guy shoots at him, misses a shot, and then shoots at him again and kind of like hits the side of his face. And Eddie turns around, he's like, "I'm really pissed off now." And it looks like he was scratched by a werewolf though. And then the guy's like, "Stop, you get back or I'll shoot you again." And then the guy tries to beat him with the shotgun, because of course it's only a 2-barrel shotgun. And the other buddy doesn't hear anything because he's got his headphones on the whole time, just blasting music while standing outside of the home. And then Eddie gets back up, grabs the guy's head, and starts ramming into, I believe, what would be his counter. I'm not really 100% sure, to be honest with you. We see what we believe is Barbara and her child, and they have a birthday cake set up, and they're just watching the time. It's 5 o'clock now, but it's pitch fucking dark out. So is it 5 o'clock in the morning? What's going on here? I really think if someone's gonna go rob a home when it's pitch dark out, it's not gonna be 5 o'clock in the evening, because it's way too goddamn dark. And then Barbara goes to call, and Eddie picks up the phone. He's like, "It's for you," and starts taking the phone and beating the burglar in the face with it. And then Barbara's like, "Hello? Anybody there? Hello?" And Barbara's like, "Emmy, we're going out to see your father." And Emmy's like, "What about my party? We were gonna have a party." And she's like, "Sorry, we gotta go see where your father is." Apparently he's not that far away. Then if she can just drive to go see him, I have no idea what the hell the point of this movie is. And then we see the lookout guy finally taking his headphones off, and then he's walking through the front door, Edward's home, instead of walking through the back door that they must have went through, because I don't think the lookout guy ever went anywhere. But anyways, the lookout's going in. He's like, hey, where are you, dude? Where are you? It's dark in here. I don't know what's going on." As the lookout guy's walking through the home, he just looks down and sees his buddy's severed head on the floor as Edward's like patching up his face. He's like, "Oh crap, I gotta get out of here now." The lookout goes around at the front door, but Edward grabs him by the back of his collar, and then we just hear some screaming happening. And then out of nowhere, a severed head comes through the window, hits another car that's driving, and I think the car just keeps driving at this point in time. But then the neighbor, the old lady that he thought was a hot lady at one point in time, wakes up because she hears the commotion, and it's literally just a severed head hitting her roof and rolling down it. Now, as far as I know, it's still the same exact night, but we see Barbara showing up at Edward's home, and she's telling Emma to stay in the car and be like, "What? You could have showed up this early? Like, you live that close? Like, what the hell's going on here? What's the whole deal about, not being home?" And Barbara walks into the home, goes up to right where his editing computer is, and looks at what he's editing, and he's like, "Well, hello, dear." And Barbara's like, "Well, hi, dear," and looks over, and he's like, "Oh my god, you look terrible. You need a doctor. I'm taking you to the hospital right now." Then he tries to make Barbara watch one of the videos that he's editing. He's like, "This is sick. This is disgusting." He's like, "Where's your sense of humor, huh?" And Edward just says how he's like tired of her and has no patience for her, and she starts freaking out. She's like, "How can you talk to me like this?" I'm like, "Why aren't you freaking out more, Barbara? His face is all bandaged up. There's blood all over his shirt. You should be a little bit freaked out probably at this point in time, especially seeing how he's talking. Maybe get out of the house. Just saying." And Barbara's like, "We gotta take you to the hospital, Edward. You're in pain. You're hurt. You're bleeding. You're injured." He's like, "I'll show you real pain." And then a paper bag, he pulls out one of the burglar's heads and just throws at her, and she starts freaking out. She's like, "Would you just stop it, please?" It's like, "He has a severed head, lady. Get out of the goddamn home." Eddie gets really weird at this point in time because he doesn't think Barbara's scared. He thinks Barbara's in for some loving, to the point where he's like, "Oh, me love you a long time," making all these very weird sayings and stuff. And they pulls out a taser, or maybe she throws the taser at him. I know she threw something, and then next thing you know, he's got a taser and he's coming at her. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna shock you a little bit. You want to get shocked a little bit? How about we get shocked?" Then he literally throws Barbara up against the wall, and she falls to the ground. And then the daughter walks up, and he's like, "Oh, hi, it's a pleasant surprise to see you here. I'm glad you came with your mom." The daughter's all freaked out, and he's like, "Come on, come get daddy a hug," as he picks up some big ass sharp scissors. He's like, "Come get daddy a hug. Come on, just come on." He's talking to her like she's a dog, because he's doing like the kissy lips and stuff. And then the mom picks up the taser, and Eddie turns around to go, stab the mom, and then he accidentally drops the scissors as she's getting tased, and they're apparently so goddamn sharp that it goes right through his shoe and everything. And he starts, hopping around screaming, and then the mom just keeps tasing him a couple times, and he jumps out like this window area, like on a balcony maybe. And as he's laying on the ground, she's like, if you ever try to touch my daughter again, I'll kill you. And he's like, nag, nag, nag. That's all you do is nag. And then Eddie pulls out the scissors and gets ready to attack Barbara. And she has a board that she must have got off that door frame, because she starts wailing him with it. And then he falls over the balcony area. And then the next door neighbor hears all this commotion, so she starts to call 911. First, Barbara goes back in to get Emmy. And she can't find Emmy anywhere. So then she's going downstairs like, oh, finally I found you, Emmy. Let's get out of here. And she's like, but mother, what about my party? They're like, you got other things to worry about your goddamn party right now. Stop being so goddamn self. And of course, Eddie's back up again, and he's like, you, I'm coming to get you, Barbara. You see Eddie walking around with these scissors, being like, I'm gonna cut somebody up, as he's trying to find Barbara and his daughter, Emmy. We see Barbara hiding in a closet, and he finds her. He goes to stab her, and she has a gun somehow, so then she shoots him, and the next thing we see is Edward screaming as he's got a straitjacket on him. He's getting put into an ambulance and stretchered away, and the cops are all over the place, and they're putting a blanket over the mom and the daughter, being like, oh yeah, everything's gonna be okay, don't worry about him. And then we see Edward being escorted through the hospital, which apparently doesn't have good lighting either, as he's being held down on this stretcher as he's bleeding out the side of his face. And we can see some of the people holding him down are cast members from that sleazy looking movie company that had the girls walk around in the skimpy dresses. They stab him in the neck with a syringe, and he just passes out. Pretty much just goes comatose at the point of the needle going right through his neck almost. And then one nurse is like, he's okay now, you can remove the jacket. I probably wouldn't do that still. No, I'm just saying. We see a patch up Edward as he's still a little bit out of it, and the nurse is like looking at his hand and checking stuff, and then he just starts checking out her chest because she's got some boobage hanging out, and then her face changes into like this monster face, and then Eddie starts freaking out and starts throttling her like he's getting ready to choke slam her because he's lifting her off of the ground. And it's kind of like an Evil Dead looking montage at this point in time because of the style of faces she's doing with the tongue out, and she just gets chucked across the room as Eddie fights off 3 more nurses, doctors, whatever, helpers. Anyways, Eddie kills all 3 of them, I'm assuming, or at least knocks them out, and he's leaving his room. He's putting on a medical jacket. He's like, alright, I'm ready to get to work. He walks into like this open room where we see some mental patients just freaking out, walking around. He's like, so much work, so little time to get it all done. And he literally pulls like a wire out of the wall. It looked like it was maybe a cable wire for like internet, but that wouldn't be a thing back then. Anyways, the wire is live, and he literally just rams it into the guy's chest, and we see the guy get electrocuted right in front of her face. And then he goes like flying across the room a little bit. If for some reason, as Eddie's walking around the hospital, as the security guard flips the alarm, we hear the alarm going off at one point in time, and then it stops. We see Eddie walking down the hallway, but then Mel, that works at the production company, walks in. I think she was like the love interest of Nick, I think his name was. And she walks into the room, and we are looking at what I believe is Eddie laying on the bed with bruised eyes and stitches on his face. At least it looks like Eddie. Okay, so never mind. It's Nick. I guess it kind of look both the same. And she's like rubbing his face, like, oh, I don't look too good, do I? She's like, no, you look like complete shit. To be honest with you look horrible. You've seen better days. Anyways, she gives him like a get well kiss, and the whole time, they start making out at this point in time, and Eddie's outside the door looking through the little glass window, being like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And then Eddie's all pissed off and pulls Mel off of Nick because apparently Eddie's been working really hard to keep Nick, pure at heart, and he calls Mel a whore for making out with him, and then he knocks Nick to the ground, and then Eddie drags Mel out of the room, and we just hear her screaming in the background as Nick finally gets back up. He's like, oh crap, I should do something, huh? And we see this random like SWAT team walking in, and they're like to the security guard, where's the problem? We'll handle them, we got shotguns. You have Eddie like dragging Mel up this staircase up to the roof, maybe, I don't know, but he's dragging her, and Nick is just slowly like waddling behind, being like, oh, I'm coming, kinda, I'm a little bit scared to be honest with you, but I'm slowly coming. Then the SWAT team sees the door open where the stairs are going up, and he's like, remember guys, this is an excellent opportunity to save a taxpayer's money, so let's not kill them and kill the bad guy, okay? You see, it's just another upper floor at this point in time because Eddie drags her into another room. She tries tries to escape, but he turns on like the gas mask and puts it on her face, and she slowly passes out. And then we just see him getting his medical sheets ready because he's got like a tray of different, tools to essentially chop her up into pieces. Essentially. All right, so we see Nick finally break into that room to try and fight off Edward, and he's getting his butt kicked essentially because Eddie at this point in time is headbutting him and then picks him up by his throat, or by the ears almost. It looks like on either side, and he's getting ready to throw him down the stairs by the looks of it. And he flies through the stairwell and through this glass window that's at the bottom of it or something. And then the army guys finally get up to the top and they just start blasting. They don't ask questions. They don't do anything like that at all. They just start shooting at Edward. And of course they're horrible shots because he's running straight down a hallway into another room where they're missing every single shot. And we see Nick just getting up off of this like gurney that was being pushed through a hallway, and he's like, sorry dude, that's not my mess to clean up. And the army guys are getting ready to go into the room where Edward ran into. There's two of them on the other end of the doorway, and the one guy goes to peek in, and then Edward just like pulls him in, punches him, takes his gun, and then the other soldier guy looks at it and gets shot by Edward using the machine gun that the other soldier had. It's like, okay, good, you guys are smart and intelligent. And then there's like a war going on between the two, or like Edward and the last remaining soldiers, and Nick tries to run up the stairs to go get his girlfriend, and the security guard's putting caution tape across. He's like, no, nobody goes up there, there's a gunfight happening up there, nobody goes upstairs, do you understand? And then we see all the soldiers dead except for the main head honcho guy. He's got a shotgun. He's like, hey, you get out of that room now, come out, you're under arrest. It's like, he just killed all the other guys, like all of the 4 buddies that you brought. What makes you think he's gonna listen to you and just surrender? But anyways, Eddie walks out, and then they're having like this old western style, like getting ready to have a western shootout. The music starts to pick up, and the army guy puts a big giant cigar in his mouth, being like, yeah, I'm a cool guy, I'm gonna win this fight. And then of course they have a slow-mo shooting scene between each other, and I don't understand the point of it, but whatever, we'll just go with it. It was so stupid because then the soldier guy is bleeding from the face, and he's like, nice shot. And then as he's falling over, it's the sound of a fucking tree falling over as the soldier guy falls to the ground. And we have our unlikely hero coming up the stairs and picking up the shotgun as he's walking towards where Edward is, as he's inside the operating room getting ready to operate on Mel again, or at least start the operation. Nick breaks into a room, but it's the wrong room, and then we see Edward taking I forget what the term. It's the thing where you put the bags on top of it, like the IV bags, and he stabs it through Mel's body. But then Mel wakes up as like a vampire creature and is like, you screwed up now, didn't you? And Edward's like, you gotta stay away from me, as he's grabbing a scalpel or scissors, getting ready to stab Mel, who's actually not been stabbed yet because it's just a figment of his imagination. And then Nick comes in with the shotgun, blows off Edward's hand, and starts shooting him a couple other times, and then he's like, rest in peace, and blows his head off. See Nick looking at Mel as she's laying on the table, and he's narrating over the story, being like how he felt empty after lowering that gun and all this other bullshit that doesn't make any goddamn sense for the movie at all, saying how one day love will rule the world and make all the puppies and kitty cats happy in the world. And then the movie ends and the outro credits start to play, and I have no idea what I just watched. I'm not gonna say it was a horrible movie, because it was not a horrible movie. It's a unique movie, that's for sure. It's got some pretty good special effects, I will give it that. It's got some gruesome shots, prosthetics and all that fun stuff, and it's the creature, like that creature in the fridge was kind of cool. Kind of, like I said, it looked like a Temu or Wish version of Gremlin, and it acted like it's got the big floppy ears and everything too, and like there was like the Evil Dead references and whatnot. It was fun. This one on the Rotten scale out of 10, I'm just gonna give it a 5, just middle of the road. The acting isn't really that great. I know it's dubbed and whatnot too, I believe. It's different. It's just, I don't really know how to explain it. I'm glad I've watched it, but it's probably not something I'm going to watch again. I might go back to, watch it quickly or look for some scenes if I want to do like an art piece, because I do still plan on doing like an art piece per episode. I know I haven't really been keeping up with that, but maybe at some point in time that will be like whatever movies I watch that'll be on my to-do list for doing drawings, either big drawings or small drawings, depending. I'm not too sure yet, but I'm glad I watched it. At least that's all I can really say. Watch it if you want to. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully, let me know if you enjoyed this movie. I'd like to know who actually enjoys this movie, if it's their go-to movie for them or not. But which brings us to what we're going to be watching next week, and I'm surprised I haven't done this one yet. I feel really silly for not doing this one yet, because I feel like watching a zombie movie because of the Barbara reference in this one. We're going to watch the original Night of the Living Dead. So I love this movie. I'm just putting that out there right now. I love zombie movies. I love George A. Romero. So we're going to be watching the original Night of the Living Dead. You can find it in a bunch of different spots. I know I have a couple copies on DVD, and I think I have a VHS copy somewhere. But we'll probably be watching one of my zombie collection DVDs, so we'll see. But yeah, definitely go check that out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure to check out the outro band, Toronto-based horror band Blood Opera. They have a new album out on Spotify. You can find them on Spotify, SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much anywhere and everywhere. They're on YouTube as well. All their links will be down below. They have an Etsy shop as well. And make sure to check out all my social media links down below as well. At Typhonsign, you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and the main thing being the YouTube channel, where we have the weekly gaming video dropping every Wednesday. We have various shorts, live streams, all that fun stuff. And once we hit 1,000 subs on there, we're going to be giving away some free artwork. So definitely go hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications if you want to be notified when we go live with a new episode. And last thing, make sure to get the podcast a star review on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify, or a review on whatever other platform you're listening to.
And yeah, you can still find the old episodes as well on YouTube if you want to go check them out there as well. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys all later. Peace.
See the shadow of a stranger. Turn around and your life's in danger. This crazy world's in a grave situation. Check the children, are they sleeping? Will they wake from the siren screaming? Don't blame the heavens, cause it's man's creation. Yeah, shocker, shocker. We're led like lambs to the slaughter. Shocker, shocker. We're in the fire and it's just getting hotter. See the light, it's the city burning. The homeless shudder cause the leaves are turning. Winter's coming and it's cold.